It's only 1:30 in the goddamn morning. What the F's going on out here? Who's she?
The black box in the bedroom I have with the adrenaline shot.
What's wrong with her?
She's ODing on us.
Well, get her the hell out of here.
Get the shot.
Get the shot!
Welcome, everyone, to episode 6 of the Burning Ewok podcast. I'm Justin Grenz, and with me, as always, is...
Me, Chuck Fisher.
And Dan Mendro.
Welcome, everybody. Hey, Chuck, welcome back from the other side of the world. How's the equator?
Yeah. It was nice, real nice. Beautiful country. I was in Rwanda and Uganda, so very beautiful country there.
Did they tell you why all the countries end in the letter A?
No, they didn't mention.
Okay.
Nothing
Because
about
the
it.
continent ends in the letter A. That's why.
And starts,
I was like 6 miles from the Congo at one point, so...
like China, Asia, same thing.
Interesting.
Europe,
Yeah.
Poland.
Very beautiful country. It's weird because it's like the turn of the century there. It's like none of the houses have plumbing. Well, not none of them, but like the majority of them don't. Everything's done by hand. All the farming is done by hand. There's cattle and goats everywhere. But instead of horses, they have motorcycles. So there's that. But yeah, it was really interesting. And the people are super friendly. Stuff's like super crazy cheap too. Like I had a head cold while I was there. Got some Sudafed. I got 2 weeks worth of Sudafed for $1. Right over the counter, no questions asked. And antibiotics, right over the counter, no questions asked.
That's nuts.
Yep.
Dude, was there a lot going on in Rwanda because it's like you were there during the big anniversary of the
the 30-year anniversary. The president spoke one day while we were there, and you could not there were no cars or anything on the roads. Like you were required to listen to the president speak. It's pretty amazing what that guy's done over there, because you have a nation that basically went through a horrible genocide, and he basically said, look, we're going to go neighborhood today, and we're going to sit down, we're going to talk, and we're going to forgive each other, and then we're going to, if anybody's guilty of murder, we're going to clearly arrest them. But then on the other hand, they no longer identify as individual tribe members. They're all Rwandans. You don't ask them about their tribes or any of that stuff. You don't talk about that stuff. But yeah, we didn't go to we went to the museum and dropped a couple people off who wanted to go through the experience, but it was packed because it was the 100 days of remembrance, and yeah, it was really cool. It was.
Did you ever see the movie Hotel Rwanda?
I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about the genocide or anything.
Yeah, I would like you to watch. You should watch that movie now, and it's like kind of Don Cheadle's coming out party as a big time actor.
I remember the movie.
It's a phenomenal movie, and just like having your experience there, I would like to hear if you watched it, what you would think about it. It's a great movie. It's absolutely worth watching anyway, regardless of that if you haven't seen it. I don't think you have to go to Rwanda to appreciate it, is what I'm saying, because I have never been to Rwanda. Maybe someday I will get there.
I would say this. I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful place, beautiful country. Just like I said, but it's different. It's it's nothing like the U.S. People literally walk everywhere. There's there's just kids. There's 5-year-old kids walking on the street, right next to giant semis flying past them, just walking on the street by themselves.
Yeah, it's that's one of those experiences that just different universe, totally. Yeah. Yet it's our planet, same, just crazy.
I felt a little uncomfortable the first few days, but then after a while, you just get used to it, and people are really cool, and nobody seemed to really care that my skin color was different. So, which I thought was really cool because that's not the way it is in the U.S. At least I've always felt, that there's always some, you know,
Man, you missed our big OJ talk.
I listened to it and I loved it. I thought you guys hit on a lot of stuff. I can't remember where I was. I do remember when the verdict was handed down that I think I was emailing or faxing the verdict to Italy because my girlfriend was there at the time. But yeah it was
crazy
surreal.
times.
But it's crazy now to.
But I mean, that was right around the exact same time that everything was going on in Rwanda too, And so speaking of 30 years
right around
ago.
the same time. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mid 90s. Yep.
Yeah. So,
but you have to think like that whole area had to be so different. Like that's 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's built up a lot since then. It's modernized. So, I'm interested to see what it's going to be in the next 50 years.
One of the continent of Africa is like the largest growth, area in the world right now, right?
Yep.
A lot of money that's been coming out of there, right? Like all the industries have been funneling money out of the continent into Western and East Asia powers for a long time, and now it's all about kind of investing in their infrastructure and building them up and keeping a lot of that economy going there. So that's pretty cool. They're going to have probably a ton of innovation coming out of there in 40, 50 years, right?
Yeah, that's the thing that kills me is the water. Like if they could just get their water figured out, I think they'd be able to advance a lot faster because they have water wells, but they're the demand is so high that they end up getting water out of the swamps and stuff. So the water coming out of the faucets, you can't drink it. You don't even want to get it in your mouth. While I was there, because we were doing classes for like ministers and stuff, and one of the women that was there, she had a stomach ache, and she's like, it's just ulcers. No, it was typhoid. She had typhoid. Yeah.
Wow. Typhoid. That's nuts.
I know, right? And you're like, we haven't had typhoid in this country. Well, I mean, you get outbreaks once in a great while, but like for the most part, never. Like not since probably the 1800s.
Wow. Oh man, I don't know. It kind of sounds like Detroit. Don't drink the water.
Actually, the water in Flint, Michigan, the water was okay to drink like a week later. I swear to God, my dad's an engineer. He'll tell you.
Oh man.
All they had to do was change the settings on the chlorine. They weren't putting enough chlorine in the water.
Oh man, it's always some mundane detail, man.
Yep. Yeah. Anyway, so the trip was great, but I'm glad to be home. And while I was on the trip home, I watched 8 episodes of Fallout.
Here we go.
In fact, I just watched episode 1 again for the 3rd time with Renee. I wanted to get.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my wife and I started watching it too, and she's in. She's in now. We got through episode 1.
Rewatch it.
And she'll do the rewatch with me. So, we gave our impressions a couple weeks ago. We didn't record last week. We apologize to all of you who are, waiting and just like dying to get that next episode and to get that fixed at the Burning Ewok. We couldn't give it to you last week. I was too busy doing old man things, and Dan had stuff going on, and Chuck was raising cattle. I
was a little sick too last week, so recording would have been really rough.
Yeah, so we gave some impressions, though, the last episode, and we wanted to wait for you to come back. And now that you've seen it all, and the three of us have seen it all, plus, I think this can be, and let's just say now, let's go spoiler heavy. Let's just talk about Fallout. Everybody's had about 2 weeks to watch it. If you hadn't watched it, and you don't want to get spoiled, you might want to skip this one until you come back to it. Come back and listen to it later. Or if you don't care, maybe the spoilers that we'll talk about might entice you to go ahead and watch this show. So, Chuck, why don't you give your impressions since
I'm gonna have a freaking seizure over here. Oh,
Yeah, you're gonna
God,
turn that off, man.
I'm moving. I'm changing.
All right, there we go.
Yeah,
Thank
there
you.
you
Woo!
go.
I was about to go Andromeda strain on you.
Spoiler alert, right?
I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's like I've waited my whole life for like this kind of thing where somebody would take something that I love so much and do it right.
Yeah. So
it's just like I couldn't. I had a smile on my face the whole time I watched it. It was I loved it, every minute of it. Every minute of it.
yeah. So I think we're officially like past the point where we can no longer say that video game adaptations are garbage. We've had now in the last year 3, maybe 4 really good video game adaptations. Like, we're there. We made it. I don't know if we've done a really great job with movies other than Mario. And I mean, honestly, Mario is just like fan service for 90 minutes. I don't know if we've done the movie part yet, but as far as like serialized television, killed it. And Fallout might be the best version.
Yeah.
I mean, Last of Us is the only other contender. It's like the two of them, they're two completely different flavors. And I know you two haven't watched Last of Us. I implore you, please watch Last of Us without even having to play the game.
I know. I never played the game.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I'm kind of a completist when it comes to that, but yeah.
You don't need it. And, like, I played only some of the game, and my wife didn't ever touch the game, and we both were all over that show. It's fantastic. But anyway, the story of the day is Fallout. I think, just going into it, it did two things. It is an 8 episodes of, like almost like I'm watching somebody play the game. Yet at the same time, it gave me really good narrative. It gave me really good mystery. It kept me, it just like each episode was like, oh, you look just like your mother. Haha, what's going on there? And then, just like those little cliffhanger one-liners at the end of each episode that get you to want to know what's going on with the story. The freaking brother might be my favorite character in the show.
Yeah.
Like, his entire storyline is so good. And seeing him like with the really tall guy and how little he is, and just like I just love that this little guy is like, kind of building up courage, because he started out as somebody hiding from the quote unquote raiders in the beginning of the show, and then deciding he's gonna like get brave and kind of try to unlock the mysteries of what's going on within the vaults. And the Mysteries of the Vaults was great because, I'm thinking, hey, what we got with these video games? We've got all the, everyone, Vault 111, Vault 76, Vault 33 with this show. And they never really had like the vaults linked together like they had in this one. And it's a really good payoff. A really good payoff in how that all kind of came together. So it's as a narrative, completely happy. Like it was Fallout 5 as far as I'm concerned. Like this story, like just like have this be the story of Fallout 5, and then the next one be a new Vault, make it Fallout 6. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. I would say, like I had a couple. I don't know, one kind of problem with it. We didn't talk about it a couple weeks ago, did we? We just talked about it in Google Chat, right?
I think I have it written down that Fallout conversation reminder, Dan. Yeah. That was from 2 weeks ago. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, what is it?
So just one very overused trope that I absolutely hate in movies and TV shows, which is the I meet a girl, I like a girl, I get caught in a lie, and I can't get out of it. The whole Maximus pretending to be Titus, right? It's just so it's one of those things that it's so cringy when I see it that it makes it uncomfortable for me to watch shows.
So we're talking Finn and Ray in episode 7.
Hey,
when he says he's a rebel, but he's really a stormtrooper. and he's living that lie through the whole
in,
movie.
It's in
right?
so many shows and
Sure.
movies.
But
Like,
I'm thinking
never
that's like
even
the most recent one.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
like
know.
the most recent
There's a lot
high.
more than that.
No,
So
I mean,
I didn't think this was bad. I didn't think it was bad because Lucy doesn't even know what like the Brotherhood really is. It doesn't
Yeah,
mean
she doesn't.
anything for
No.
her.
No.
It doesn't matter to her. He's lying, and his lie is more with other people in the Brotherhood. Because he keeps the mask on when the other squire comes.
Sure.
So that part I think worked. When it came to Lucy didn't care.
I know, and it's just one of those things. I hate that trope. I just hate it. It's just so overused. It's like every teen movie, and since I have two teens and a tween, right? It's like I've seen a million of these movies over the last 10, 15 years. So I just hate that part.
It's also every episode.
We're gonna call this Dan Hates Three's Company.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that's every episode of Three's Company right there. Jack makes up some bullshit, and, to impress a girl, and then he's stuck in it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and that's really my only real complaint about the only thing I didn't like watching the first. It's primarily kind of comes out in the first few episodes, right, and then it doesn't. It's not in front and center so much until the end, and then it's just kind of like you told me. You said, "Don't worry about it," because it just kind of resolves itself. It just it gets mostly glossed over, and it's not as in your face in the end, right?
Yeah, when he says it, she's like, "What? I don't care. Whatever." It was like not even
how it gets resolved with the Brotherhood, because what's his friend who like made on foot because she didn't want to go out. That just took the, for lack of a better phrase, took the piss out of the whole thing, because it's like.
So did she do that to herself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they definitively say that she did it to herself?
Yeah, and she apologizes to them when they're in the armory loading up. Because he looks at her and she's like, you think that she's about to say, he's about to say, thanks for covering for me or something like that. And instead, it's a girl, right? Or whatever. Yeah. She goes, I'm sorry, I was just too scared to go out in the wasteland or something along those lines.
Yeah. But here's the thing about the lie. The lying for me was more, I think he was more lying to himself because he wasn't happy with the person he was. He'd rather have been Knight Titus, I think we're kind of projecting a lot onto a character in a video game.
Well, I think he wanted to be Knight Titus. I mean, Knight Titus was a douchebag. I think he wanted to be Knight Maximus.
I think he wanted to be Titus, who he thought Titus was going to be, until started being Michael, Rappaport.
Yeah. Oh,
By the way,
speaking of,
he is great.
Who's your favorite cameo in this?
I was going to ask the same question.
Okay, all right.
Fred Armistice.
Oh, that's mine too.
Yep. Fred Armisen is pretty good.
That was mine also. That was a great scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah, we got to go back. Just like one more thing that I kind of was disappointed with was how it ended. Mainly because I didn't expect there to be that much of a unresolved, like that much more to be left to be said. I thought it was going to be wrapped up more because the way I read articles or saw article headlines and everything, I was expecting everything to be kind of wrapped up neatly and totally self-contained in one season. And I was kind of expecting like season 2 would not be the same characters, but be something different within the world. So I was not expecting like a cliffhanger of the father running off to frickin' New Vegas, which was awesome. Yep. But I was a little disappointed that I got to wait like 2 more friggin' years to see what happens.
It's going to be a while. Yeah. But like halfway through this, I'm like, this is such high quality and the buzz is so good. There's no way this isn't going to get, renewed. And sure enough, it got renewed. And I fell in love with the characters. Like all 3 of the main characters and then 4 if we're going to include the brother. Just absolutely phenomenal. Chuck, what?
I would say that you also have the guy that turned into a ghoul. Got the arrow through the deck and stuff. He's awesome.
He's great.
Too.
Okay.
He's funny too. Like I like that guy too.
Yeah.
The doctor, the weird like.
I don't think he's a ghoul though.
You don't?
Nope.
Cool.
Super mutant.
Possibly.
There's a serum for super mutants in Fallout, right?
FPV, yeah.
So so I guess that like brings me to what didn't we see in Fallout that we can expect? Because obviously we saw the skull of a Deathclaw.
Yeah, we're gonna see Deathclaws.
We're gonna see Deathclaws are coming
super
up
mutants,
for sure.
I thought for sure.
Yeah, and we didn't get one super mutant unless Dan's theory is correct there. Then we saw the makings of a super mutant. But those are the two things that are like, the two holy crap moments when you play the game. The first time you see a super mutant, especially in Fallout 3, when there's the big, huge one that's got the fire hydrant on the end of the street post. And,
yes.
So
that's awesome.
That's one of the holy crap moments. And then, of course, Deathclaw's always a holy crap moment.
Yeah.
Until you're leveled up and you can take one. But
before we go on to speculation, I want to talk a little bit about the show. One of my favorite lines of the show is when he drops, like he's like obliterated this whole town worth of people, and he's like, he drops the caps. He's like, for the tomatoes, because he ate those tomatoes. You just killed all these people. You're gonna pay for the tomatoes? That's awesome. I love Walter Goggins in this. That opening sequence with him and his kid and the whole thing. Oh my God, it's so good. And he just embodies that character so well. I can't say enough about it. That's why I like your theory of like, new characters in the next season. I like where you're going with that, but I'm like, no, I want to see more. I want to see more of this ghoul.
Yeah,
and I really like Lucy. I think she's great.
Lucy is amazing. Like it
awesome.
was just like her naivety. But I mean, and I watching that first episode again and seeing her go through like what her traits were. Like, she was not very good with guns, but she was pretty good with hand-to-hand combat. And, like they're showing like all the things that she was good at. And which is just so funny, like going through like the GOAT and taking the tests in Fallout.
Your special.
And getting your specials and all that. Yep. And just every little bit about it. The little sound effect cues, all the things. Like we discussed a couple weeks ago, Dan, like she gets stabbed in the first episode. And she's able to go into the bathroom, pull down the med kit, take out a stim, stab herself, and then she's ready to go. Like it magically heals her enough, but she still has the injury. She's got to take care of it. So it's like in the world, everything worked. Yeah. And it was like the first time like a health pack ever like worked for in a show or anything like that. It was where it felt in world and legitimate. And that's like my first huge smile. I think was that. Well, other than like the film over the crops
burning
and like it burning and almost looked like a nuclear like explosion, the way that they had the camera angle, and then how it flipped to the please stand by.
Yes.
Oh, that was so good, so good. Yeah, just completely set the mood, did everything right.
When he stemmed the dog and it went from laying down to being like upright right away, like ready to go.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff where, it's just like the unexplained, it's like almost like Star Wars technology where they don't explain it and it's not really embedded in our universe because there's no microchips, no, like everything like took a different path. So it's just like, so all those high-tech things that they have in that world, they don't need to explain them because it comes from like this almost not cyberpunk, but not steampunk, it's like Fallout punk. I don't even know what to say. Yeah, it's like I think like we got to come up with a name for it. It's perfect aesthetic though, and I love it. Yeah. And
well, you guys were discussing it 2 weeks ago. You said that the aesthetic was, one of the main factors for, loving the world that they created.
Yeah.
And I agree 100%. 100% with that.
Now, did you guys watch Westworld?
Yes.
How far did you get into Westworld?
I think I have one season left.
Far enough
okay.
to see. I went far enough to know that the show's too up its own ass to go any further.
So season 1, phenomenal. Season 2, really good. I
No.
didn't watch after season 2. Yeah.
I disagree.
Justin,
I
you don't know what you're
wholeheartedly
talking about.
disagree.
That show was great.
The show
Yeah,
is.
no, I think season 2 is pretty good. In of Westworld, right? And I don't want to get into Westworld, but
takes itself
what
way
I
too
wanted to-
seriously.
and that's okay.
No, we had this discussion about other shows and taking themselves too seriously. I think of all shows ever in the history of ever, Westworld takes itself way too, like, the most serious of any show I've ever seen.
Well, table how you feel about season 2 for now, okay? And I'll probably have to rewatch some Westworld to catch up on, because it's been years since I watched it. But as I went through Fallout, right, and I got into the middle of it, and we got into a lot more flashbacks, just the way that they incorporate the flashbacks and then back into the current worldview, and then you think about how they created the world, and there's so much Westworld season 1 in Fallout, and I think it lends itself really well in terms of how they present everything, how they link everything back to the past and then bring it back to the future, and you're seeing some of the characters as they appear in Fallout in the current year, and where they were, and you don't really have a direct link all the time, but then you're seeing them and you're picking up on that. And they do that so well in Westworld, right? So I think they really, really took a lot, because it's Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan who did Westworld, and they were the showrunners for the first 2 seasons, I think, right?
Were they?
And
makes a lot of sense. They kill it with the music in Westworld, I'll give them that. And I didn't realize it was Jonathan Nolan that did that. So.
Oh yeah, that was them. They teamed up they were there for both the first 2 seasons. I think one or both of them left after the second season, I think.
I mean, Westworld always looked good. And it just always felt it was a slog, and it took itself too seriously. Where Fallout is it's if they made Westworld interesting to me. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to speak highly of Westworld. And there was a lot to like about Westworld. I get it. It just really was just. Oh, it was disappointing.
I just don't see it. How you didn't like Westworld blows my freaking mind right now.
Yeah, I think Westworld, I think it's one of those ones where it took itself seriously in parts, but as soon as you got to the whole corporate aspect of this, big secret company running the whole thing and its motives behind the scenes, that part was very new RoboCop to me, if
I
that
don't
makes
know.
sense.
Fallout again does that exact same thing better.
Well,
I mean, the big corporation is doing everything behind the scenes in this too, and it does it better. And
I think Fallout, the whole premise of Fallout is tongue in cheek the whole way through, from day one all the way on. I mean, even even Wasteland, the predecessor was pretty tongue in cheek in a lot of ways, also, right? But sorry, I didn't mean to take us off too big of a tangent there. But I was talking more how they crafted the scenes together and took it from episode 1 through episode 8 and kind of wove it, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Story in the background, right? All the whole Vault Tech conspiracy, which I have some theories on that also, by the way. There's some huge reveals in the Fallout world in the series, right?
Yes.
Things that you may not have known if you played all the games, right?
Here's the thing, I did play all the games, and I want to say, I thought that it was already hinted to the fact that they were involved.
So,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
think on some of the computer terminals they did mention some things. It was never as direct as this though. But I mean, the fact that you also had who's the guy who's like just the television screen in New Vegas, the guy with the
Mr. Haney.
Oh
mustache,
yeah, the guy that
and
runs
and he's
Robco.
one of the guys. The Robco
Yep.
guy is
Yep.
in the show,
And that
yeah,
and that whole meeting room is like right out of Doctor Strangelove.
yeah.
You know, like that was awesome. They mentioned he when he's back at his house and they're having a party at his house. He was in a movie, A Man and His Dog, which is a reference to A Boy and His Dog, which is, I guess, where a lot of the original inspiration came for Wasteland and the original Fallout. And then in his monologue, when he's talking about when he like the first ad for the Vault, like Vault 4 or whatever, he mentions a better day after, which is a reference to the made-for-TV movie from 1983, The Day After, which was a nuclear strike on the U.S.
I think I have to change my favorite cameo. I think I have to change it back to. I gotta go Matt Berry. Just thinking about it. Just when they're at the party.
I was bummed Ron Perlman didn't show up. I was like, he's got to show up somewhere.
But the delivery of the line "War never changes" was so
was great.
perfect. It was in the right place where it needed to be, and it was like almost like I almost stood up and clapped when she said it. And I knew she was gonna say it. You know, as soon as she paused, I'm like, oh, here we go. And I just was like, there we go. There's the chef kiss on the show. Mwah, right there. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the big, reveal of they presented that Vault Tech dropped the bombs.
Well,
Yes.
no.
They know that they blew up Shady Sands.
Well, we definitely know that without a doubt.
Because China drops those original nukes earlier in the beginning.
That's not what the ending of the show is telling us. The ending of the show is telling us.
I thought they were telling us for sure that they nuked Shady Sands, and he had nuked his own wife. Like he wiped that all out.
Clearly, that happened. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think they clearly said, and I could be wrong. I absolutely could be wrong. That the original war then was started by. I mean, I think they had a part in orchestrating it, but I think those bombs came from China.
No, so she says
Vault
in that
Tech wasn't
meeting,
launching them. I don't think.
She says in that meeting when they're asking her like, "Well, how are we going to make sure that this pays off?"
Yeah.
She says, "We dropped the first bomb."
Yeah, you drop it on China. You start the war.
You start the war.
They're not bombing all America. Is my point.
But
Well, maybe they did.
They did later.
Well, for sure they did. But now here's the crazy thing. If you guys didn't talk about this because I don't know that you guys have played the first two games, but Shady Sands is a major role in the first two games. Like
in New Vegas.
I remember, because it becomes the capital of the New California Republic. But I remember going into Shady Sands the first time, being like, and wanting to help this small colony, and and then in the second game it's bigger, and you're like, oh, that's cool, it's like 40 years or 50 years later or something. And you help them even more, So when I saw that they blew it up, I was like, oh. Dude, I spent so much time helping those people. They just fucking blew it up. That pisses me off.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think so. So it's really interesting. Justin, you're the first person I've talked to that really didn't pick up and think that Vault Tech launched the bombs to start the nuclear war.
I don't know. No, here's what I'm saying. I know Vault Tech specifically launched the bombs to destroy Shady Sands. For sure.
Yeah, that's 200 years later.
But that's 200 years later, and that was in a way to keep their little fief going inside Vaults 31, 32, and 33. That was that protection thing. But to actually start the war, when she says we dropped the bombs, I took it not necessarily that Vault Tech is launching all those bombs. It is a collection of all those groups working with everything to start a war. This is a conglomerate. major corporations united together to start a world war to profit off of it. Not necessarily like Vault-Tec has bombs and they're launching them. I think they're like kind of like the puppeteers in the background, causing all these things to jumpstart the wars so they could profit off of it. Starting wars with other, like, so getting the countries to start fighting each other, make the end times happen. Similar to like if like let's say like if Microsoft and Tesla and all these companies got together, had enough money they're pumping into the government enough to get into the to cause enough strife between China, America, Russia, etc., and bombs start going. That's how I took it.
Yeah, I think kind of took it as they directly manipulated those bombs, like
Okay.
like their computers or whatever are hacking the United States and China to both launch at the same time or something like that.
Like they had the doomsday device like in Doctor Strangelove.
Yeah.
The lore,
which absolutely, you guys, I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I'm just saying that's the way I saw it. I mean, it's not that different than what you guys are explaining. It's more nuanced, and I guess we'll probably get the definitive details in upcoming seasons, is my guess. Or games.
Yeah, the lore behind it is that the U.S. and China, well, the globally they were, the economy was based on uranium and oil, and they were running out of both. And so there were these wars called the resource wars, and America, ends up annexing Canada and invading Mexico, and China invades Alaska, and so this war has been going on for like 10 years. And what they're saying in the TV show is, look, America's broke. They've spent billions on these wars. Also, they contracted with Vault-Tec to build all these bunkers. So Vault-Tec is now worth trillions of dollars. They have all the money. They can do what they want. And yes, they could easily, I believe they could have easily, started the war, by just simply purchasing a bomb and launching it. I don't know. But it's also been said by the people in charge that that was said, but that's not necessarily. It wasn't definitive. It was this woman said, yes, we can assure that it starts by doing this, but whether they did it or not, we don't know that for sure.
So I think when you play through the first 4 games, they kind of reveal the history of each game, and I think it's kind of hinted at that the Enclave is very much responsible for a lot of the wars going on and may have been responsible for manipulating the nuclear strikes, right?
Right. And so at the very beginning of the show, in that where they're like, the president's gone missing. Well, we know that in I think the second game when you first encountered the Enclave, it's because the president is on an oil rig off the coast of California. And, he's there. So the Enclave is like this, it's part of the U.S. government, but like an upper echelon, maybe.
It's like a shadow government.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So, and there was talk in, I was looking at one of the wikis before we started this, and there was talk that yes, the Enclave was actually manipulating Vault-Tec. So who knows? Who knows? I loved the twist. I loved the twist in this show.
Yeah,
I loved it.
So what's your favorite fan service in the show? What's the one thing you wanted to happen and it came through and it was there?
Good question.
I don't know if I necessarily had a favorite one that I was hoping that would happen and I would get, because, it was more of like the nuanced things that would happen in a game. Like I said, and I can't remember if I mentioned that. I've talked about this show about one of my favorite scenes is in episode 2 where she walks up to the two fighting, the guy's doing his business with the chickens, that guy, that whole thing, where it was like, this is the perfect quest line, like small quick quest inside of a Fallout game. But she walks up to the guy holding her gun out, and she's pointing the gun at him as she's talking to him, just like you would do it in the game without holstering your weapon. And his reaction's like, whoa, wait, hey, the conversation tree changes. She finally holsters the gun, and then it flips, and then his attitude changes, just like in the game. And then obviously she has a choice: do I help this guy or do I help this guy? She makes the choice, and then hijinks ensue, and and it's pretty good. So it's like that, like those types of bits in it. The Mr. Handy stuff I loved, absolutely thought it was great.
Oh, without a doubt, it was awesome.
Like I said, Matt Berry was like the perfect voice for Mr. Handy. So, and I already said the stim pack.
I think the coolest thing,
the junk jet, firing like the teddy bear into the dude. That was a good one.
I loved the fusion core stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like, I don't know if you know this, but in the game, if you run into a power armor and you don't have one on, you can get behind them and remove the power core from like the Brotherhood while they're wearing the power armor if you're good enough, right? So, like, Thaddeus taking his power core, the fusion core, out of the power armor while he's trying to kill him is fantastic. And then the whole dilemma of, do you take the fusion core from the vault, which is going to end up killing the whole vault?
Yeah, and the way they just drop it down like the slot and it just lands. You hear, thank you.
Yeah.
that was fantastic. Except the one thing is, though, if in the game, there's no way that you'd be able to walk that far on one fusion core. You'd have to like swap like 2 or 3 of them out.
Oh, yeah.
But I think actually that's only just to like kind of that's to game you within the game that they do that, because I mean the fusion cores power so much in that universe that they would be able to power a suit of armor a lot longer than they would than they do in the game.
Yeah,
I think without a doubt
in the game for other reasons.
I think without a doubt the power armor was the best. Like the way they did it, the way it looks, the way it works, the way he can take it on, put it on, and take it off, and it's like right out of the game. It was freaking amazing. I loved that scene where they're fighting and he reaches over and he crushes that guy's skull.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that was badass, dude. Like, that was one thing I was trying to explain to Renee. I'm like, so there's a little bit of graphic of
just
gore, but it's funny. It's funny gore.
That's how I describe it as well. It is cartoon.
It's cartoony violence.
Cartoony, satirical, over the top comic book gore.
Yeah, exactly.
The foot. When he puts on the artificial foot, leg.
That's fantastic.
Jim's limbs, man.
That is absolutely fantastic.
There's a bucket and blood pouring into the bucket. I wanted my parents to watch it, but I'm like, there's no way. My dad could never hack it.
I got my parents to watch it, and they watched it like in 2 days. They called me up and said they loved it.
That bucket scene no, my dad couldn't hack it. No way.
That's hilarious. Is there any like just little innocent scene that you're like, this is just, like they just nailed everything, whether it's the game or just the narrative or whatever, just like every little detail is just perfect? Is there any one little scene for you?
Okay, so let's talk like last episode, second to last episode. I think we all knew the ghoul was the mom right away. That was kind of obvious. Like before they said it, you knew, like, all right, that'll come back later.
Why else would she be there?
But again, there was that moment when she is given the task: do I let my dad out, or do I, who do I kill here? And it's just like I could see the tree of, dialogue coming out underneath her and like having to make that decision on what she's going to do. And
Mhm.
it's like that was another one of those moments. I love the fact that Maximus came in and just unlocked it. He's like, all right, let's go. We got your dad. Let's go. And perfect way to have that all happen. I like the way that Maximus like seems to be the guy who, he could get hit with a manure cart and smell like roses afterwards. Like everything seems to fall his way, no matter
Mhm.
which way. And speaking of that guy, he could be a great replacement for Jonathan Majors in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's
Oh
got the
yeah. I
look,
think
and that
so.
guy has got so much charisma on the screen. He's
Yep.
really, really good. You
He's
know,
Mhm.
good.
I mean, he's kind of a goofball in this, but I think if he could probably do the serious role as well. I really, really liked. I said I liked all the actors. I mean, obviously Walton Goggins was great. But he's been
Mhm.
great in so many things. So it's like he's
He's
not
great
like
in
somebody.
everything.
Yeah. Uh,
Righteous Gemstones.
yeah.
Shit.
He's been
So good in that.
he's been good in so many different things forever.
Mhm.
More of a character actor always. So it's nice to see him get this really big role. That
You
I
know
think
what's
he's going to be remembered forever for this
Oh
role.
hell yeah! But
Yeah.
you know what's crazy is he's not a gamer. He doesn't. He's not played any of the games. So he just came in and created this character, and it freaking worked so good.
Mhm.
For Dan, the one thing what you were saying, like, is there like a little scene in there that like,
Mhm.
yeah, kind of like hit really good?
Mhm.
It's when she walks into that abandoned house, and there's the mom and the kids in their like high chairs and shit, and there's a bottle,
Oh yeah.
there's a bottle of fucking what's it, cyanide on the table, and you're just like,
Yep.
oh shit, like that's the kind of stuff you run into the game. You'll walk into a house and it'll be like some like bizarre, horrible, twisted like scene that you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was really good.
My scene was it's Vault 4 is the other vault that they come across, right?
But yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one. Yeah,
So mine is when Lucy gets like arrested and they're dragging her down the hallway and Maximus is sitting there watching TV
With
in
the
his robe
popcorn,
with
and he's picking the popcorn
the
off of his.
popcorn.
Yeah.
And he just like watch her go by and then he looks at the popcorn and he's like and he takes another bite.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that one just kind of did it for me. It's just like in the back of my mind, I'm going just because I know the history of all the vaults, that every vault is an experiment, right? In the games, that I'm going. Is there something in the food that makes you forget about the outside or something? Since it's like this conglomeration of people that have come from the outside and they never want to go back out, right? Or is it just the creature comforts of the vault that are making him want to stay? But I thought it was a great scene, and I thought he did it really, really well.
oh hell yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was also like a really interesting break.
Mhm.
What's really interesting about the show, and I thought was like all these side quests that they end up having to go on. You're like, oh man, I wish they would just get back to the main story, but you're like, oh, now they're in this vault, or whatever. And it's the game. That's exactly how the game is too.
What's the line from the ghoul about that? It's like in episode 2, I think, when he's got Lucy and he's dragging her through the forest.
The golden rule of the wasteland, man.
Yeah, you always get sidetracked or something like that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was pretty good. What wasn't in there that you wanted?
Mini nukes.
Are there any? Do they show any, or do they show up somewhere?
Yeah, there was one.
There was?
In that shop she goes into, and she's like, "Hey, you got a bunch of Vault-Tec stuff in here. Yeah, there's a mini nuke sitting there."
Oh, was there?
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't
yeah.
see it. I didn't see it out. I'm gonna watch episode 2 maybe tonight again, so I'll look for that. I love the lady behind the counter just laughing at her. Like,
Friggin',
she's just fantastic. Yeah.
And the animosity toward the vault dwellers, like that was cool. Like I'm like, yeah, that makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you would be super pissed at the people who went into the vaults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see Nuka-Cola Quantum. Didn't get a Quantum yet. Didn't get any sort of Silver Shroud reference. Would have just lit me up.
Yep.
I would have.
Silver
Like
Shroud would be good.
if Fred Armisen on the radio would have said something about the Silver Shroud, like next episode on, you know, or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, just any little bit thrown in there would be great.
Mhm.
Because I was the fool that I never used power armor in Fallout 4. I wore the Silver Shroud costume the whole game.
Oh yeah, didn't Hammer do that?
Never did that.
Yeah,
Never did
yeah.
that.
I would leave like the cards too. Just I like lived as the Silver Shroud in that game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's how I played it all the way to the end.
Wow.
Even
I've
like
never
going
played
into
it that
like
way.
yeah, it was yeah. I didn't use the power armor, which kind of like it kind of nerfed me in some ways because there's a few things I didn't get to do because it was just like I just didn't want to deal with the power armor. I'm like
Mm,
yeah.
okay.
So I built up other
Yeah.
things. I always play those games weird though. Like for Vegas, I won that on speech.
Yep.
Yeah, I did not like go through and like wipe out was it Caesar or whoever it was. Yeah, I did the whole speech thing to win that game.
That's how I beat it too.
Oh, really?
hmm
I think
Okay.
the second time I went through, I killed Caesar's Legion. But
Hmm.
there's one where you win with you get all the robots to come, and you wipe everybody out. And you win. You take over everything.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I did. New Vegas, I did like 3 playthroughs.
Yeah, I played through it like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, New Vegas is awesome. Such a good game.
I think New
It's
Vegas
fantastic.
is the best written of all the Fallout's.
Oh yeah,
Like
without a
hands
doubt.
down, best written.
Mhm.
I think Fallout 3 might be my overall favorite though, just because I think it was like it was like the way I kind of was like came into it, you know, and then like I
Mhm.
really like the whole Capital Wasteland area and that
Mhm.
whole thing, you know.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but
I was hoping the aliens would make an appearance.
oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I was hoping like the ray gun, the
She
alien
did
gun would
have an
be on.
alien gun though at one point. Wasn't there an alien gun?
There's a
No,
laser gun, but those
Yeah.
aren't alien.
Yeah, I saw the
Those
laser,
are
but
Yeah.
I thought somebody had a like an alien.
the alien blaster.
The ray
Yeah.
gun. No.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
no.
Okay, okay,
I didn't see it. I didn't hear anybody talking about it.
okay. I just
But that would have
okay.
been cool for that to come.
Well, and I think they're saving a lot for future. So when we originally talked about this, we were like, oh, they're going to drop everything in one day, at one time, and is that a wise decision? And I think in retrospect, 2020 vision, I think it was a great choice because that first episode, like you don't even get introduced to all the characters in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
I
yeah,
think
and no.
it was
I mean,
the
it's
right
like
thing to do.
when Disney does it a lot, where they'll go, yeah, Andor starts out really slow. If we drop one episode of that, we might get into trouble. So let's put 3. Let's get the first story arc out there, so everybody goes, oh, now I see what the show's about. Give them 2-3 episodes, and then we'll drop them weekly. So they do it that way. Like I said, I was just surprised that Amazon, because Amazon, when they first started doing shows, they were like, we're doing the weekly format. We're not dropping every
Yeah.
episode,
Yeah.
And they did the same thing, like even Invincible, which you like Walton Goggins. He's one of the voices in Invincible also. Which I just finished that last night. And just a little sidebar. I was going to talk about it at the end, but I was afraid I was going to forget. Watch Invincible. I'm telling you, watch Invincible. The animated show on Prime. It's 2 seasons, and there's like an extra episode called Adam Eve. You'll know why. You'll thank me. I promise you'll thank me. It's fantastic. Really good voice acting in it, but also some of the best written comic stuff out there. Absolutely. I digress. Yeah. So anyway, all the episodes dropping. I'm glad they did it, because otherwise I'd be waiting for another episode right now. Instead, I can go back and keep watching them.
I started watching it. I downloaded it all at the Rwandan airport and got on the plane. We took off. I started watching the first episode. We flew from Rwanda back into Uganda and stopped at an airport. It was just a quick layover to drop off and pick up people. I was so engrossed in the show that I didn't even like the landing and takeoff. I was just like, it didn't even bother me. I was like, man, whatever. Like I was just watching the show.
Oh man, that's the worst when you're on a plane and you don't want to stop watching something. And you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
they're dragging, sir, you have to put your tray table upright and put your device away.
Well,
Or when you're-
KLM was really
yeah, yeah.
KLM was really cool because they're like, as long as you're in airport mode or airplane mode, you can have Bluetooth on, so I could have my headphones on, and they didn't care if I was, as long as I was just holding it and I was buckled in, they didn't care.
Oh, that's
Like
cool.
they have like TVs built into the back of the seats,
Mhm.
so like the moment we got on the plane, people were watching, Harry Potter and whatever.
Mhm.
One guy was watching Oppenheimer. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I know, but
Isn't that the
yeah.
prequel to Fallout though?
Actually, no, because according to the wiki I read, they don't develop fission till later.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember. Something like
It's,
that.
there's like a weird, like the Fallout wiki is really cool because what year do you think the Fallout wiki starts?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, no clue.
It
Probably
starts
World War One.
in 1066.
Really?
Because it keeps track of all of the tidbits that you get and the history that is crafted
Oh, that's
through
crazy.
all of the games and now the show, right? So it's pretty cool. So if you want to go back, like it takes about 3 minutes at least to get to the turn of the 19th century.
So what
That's
happens
awesome.
in 1066 or whatever?
Something about Sir Hastings or something like that. The Battle of Hastings is fought, and then they actually talk about when the Magna Carta is signed and stuff like that. So there's some differences in it. So and then it jumps to the 1600s, and it's Toshiro Kago in the 1600s is abducted by Mothership Zeta from Japan.
Nice.
So the aliens arrive in 1600.
So,
Yeah.
so talk about things that we didn't get to see. I mean, I would love to have, and it wouldn't be the same Liberty Prime, but to have another Liberty Prime robot in some capacity happen.
Mhm.
Obviously it's West Coast, but I just love the just to hear the dialogue of Liberty Prime.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I think you're gonna get. So there's a lot of speculation out there, right? So season 2, right? Did we say it's confirmed? Right?
It's confirmed. Yeah, it's confirmed.
It's confirmed. So there's a ton of speculation just with how other shows are going, spin-offs and whatnot, that there's going to be some spin-offs, right? So you're going to have Fallout season 1, Fallout season 2, the main story arc, whatever. But there could be some, 3-4 episode spin-offs of some of the side characters or some of the other things that are going on.
Which could be very similar to what they do with The Boys, because there's Gen V.
That was an example.
Yeah. So they've got Gen V, and then they've also got the animated shorts that they do, which are all pretty good.
So are we going to get a Thaddeus spinoff?
You know what? They bring anything, I'm in. With the love and care that they've done to this show, anything. I'm here for all of it.
I think we need a spinoff of Mr. Gutsy from the supermarket, right?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I want to see. I want to see. I want to see more of. Because you're basically in the same region as the first and second Fallout games.
Mhm.
And granted, we're going to Vegas. I understand that, but I would love to see references to, or even maybe a visit to Vault 13 or something.
Mhm.
But the other thing, the things that I love about Fallout 4 is it's all these little military, you'll run across a military robot just hanging out.
Mhm.
It's it freaks out on you or whatever. I'd like to see some. I think she did come across one of the robots.
Mhm.
It was dead in the sand.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I'd love to see something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, I don't care. I could just watch. I don't know. It was so good.
Yeah, I think we could get a Chicago spinoff, right?
Well, Dan, didn't you find a website that took the imagery off of the War Room wall where they had all the vaults and
Oh yeah,
overlaid it?
yeah.
They overlaid
Yeah,
it
we gotta
with the
talk about
map.
that, man.
Yeah, yeah. And so, like, we're apparently, like, within, like, 10, 15 miles away from a vault.
Yeah, dude. So like, there's a site, there's a lady on one of the Fallout subreddits who took the picture, and then she's got it in some mapping tool. And so she drilled down all the known vaults from the picture in the show, and there's 3 near Chicago, and one of them, yeah, it looks like it's right next to where, the northwest suburbs where we are, like north of us, like between McHenry and Crystal Lake. Like it's somewhere right around here.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Could be
Yeah.
a Veterans Acres, man. I could go, like, walk around there and
Oh
see.
hell yeah, that'd be a perfect place to hide it.
So
Holy jeez.
So Chicago's like mentioned a little bit in the Fallout lore, right? So there's a huge like the Brotherhood dispatches like this giant fleet of airships and power armor to Chicago. Like half of what they have, they sent them to Chicago at some point, and like they don't really talk about much what happened to that.
There was a game though. There was a game called the Brotherhood of Steel.
Yeah.
It wasn't an official game, but it took place in Chicago, and it was
Is that where
basically
it took place?
yeah.
Okay, so it's
I
like
never played it, but I read about it.
it's like the super mutants like are centered in the Midwest, right? That's like they've just taken over the Midwest. So the Brotherhood of Steel sends this fleet of ships to go track them down. So I think that would probably be a pretty cool. So I don't know if Chuck, did you listen to the whole podcast? So like, I think Justin and I talked a lot about.
I skipped a little bit when you started talking about sports. I skipped ahead a little bit, but I listened to everything else though.
That was at the end.
I think we were talking a lot about Fallout and a little bit of
Yeah, you did.
a lot about Halo and a little bit about Fallout, right?
And also Three Body Problem, which I haven't.
Yes.
I would like
Oh
to
yeah,
talk
we
about
should
at some
talk
point.
about that a little bit probably too. But it's like I want to know more about the main story here in Fallout Season 2, but I want to have new stuff. I love the universe that's been crafted. I want to see stuff that hasn't been explored again, which is I think part of why the season 1 made.
And I think that's going to be the one thing that kind of bugged me.
Mhm.
The one new thing that we got that we could have had something in game lore, we didn't get. And that, unless I totally don't remember this creature in there, the pink water creature that gets the head.
Yeah, they're
Gulper?
those are
Are
all over the
Gulpers?
place.
Are they in the
Yeah.
game?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
pretty
they're
sure.
called something else.
I don't remember that creature anywhere in the game. I mean, there's a million creatures that in the game. You had the red roaches, and we had, things like that. But it's just like, why wasn't it a Mirelurk? I wanted, I didn't see a
Because
Mirelurk.
that's the East Coast.
Mirelurk's
Fireworks East Coast.
They're not in New Vegas at all, anywhere. Like
Yeah,
in
the
like,
gulper is an animal.
okay. And what game is it in?
Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, according
Is
to
it?
the wiki.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gulpers appear in Fallout 4, and yep. And so, yep.
I haven't played enough of 76 to see it, and I do not remember it from 4.
Mm.
Okay, well, I still wish
It's
I got
not-
a Mirelurk.
I mean, there's.
They're all over the water in Fallout 4, I want to say.
Yeah, but I thought
So-
Mirelurks were more like the Mirelurks. I remember the Mirelurk queens a lot.
Yeah, I remember that a
Mirelurks are
lot.
the ones that walk around on land a lot, too.
Yeah,
though,
they
right?
do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, they'll follow
the
you.
the Gulpers mostly, I think, stay in the water.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I'm happy then. Okay, that's cool. All right.
There you go.
all right. Real quick, you guys, you spoke about Three Body Problem last week. I did not finish the series. You were talking about the Sophans, the Sophon. All right, I'm watching the show. I'm on board with everything, and then all of a sudden, they can take a proton and they can blow it up to the size of a planet. They can build a giant computer inside of it, and then it goes back to the size of a proton. And I'm like, wait, they can't go faster than 1% the speed of light, and They need to come conquer our planet. Like, all of a sudden, it just took me out of it. I'm like, they seem so far advanced in physics, specifically quantum physics, that I'm like,
So you've got a place, a very unstable environment that this alien species lives in.
I know.
It doesn't
I know.
necessarily always have to have been there, but at this moment, it's in a very unstable place. It's looking for a more stable place, right? Finds Earth. It's going to come to us. So it's got massive technology and everything. Sure, but they're going to come conquer.
And they're only 4 light years away or some shit. Like, is there a 3? Is there even a 3?
400 years it would take them to get there.
Right, at 1% the speed of light.
Mm-hmm.
So they're only 4 light years away.
I don't think that's
right?
4 light years.
I thought that's what they said in the show. Anyway, it just seemed...
That's what took you out of it?
That's what took me out of it, man. As soon as the SoFon thing showed up, I was like...
Oh, I think it's SoFon is a great
I agree with Chuck on,
sci-fi.
I'm with Chuck on this. So why wouldn't you go Ant-Man and just use the SoFon, stick a proton SoFon up every scientist's butt and expand them out and, and kill them all in about, they'd be done in an hour, ready for them to come in 400 years.
I don't think they understand how butts work. I think that's
I liked your discussion on how they had no concept of our financial system, how to take it down.
They don't understand. Yeah, they don't understand us enough.
But they do understand. They do understand advanced science. So, like things like particle accelerators, they would recognize that.
Yes,
they would recognize, those sorts of things.
So, I have a question then. Since you read the books, right, Justin?
Years ago. So.
All right. So the SoFons, they say in the show, had only been there for a few months.
Yes.
Right?
Correct. Yep.
But the technology for the VR headsets was so far beyond anything we had on the planet, and they couldn't even construct them yet. How did the VR headsets get made and distributed well before the SoFons were there?
I can't remember.
I
can't remember.
Useless.
Yes, I'm completely useless here. I wish I had an answer for you. Yeah, I'm sure Reddit can tell you all about it.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I had. Yeah.
Now I know what I'm doing tomorrow at work.
You're building a SoFon?
No, surfing Reddit to learn about that stuff.
Hey, do you want to talk a little technology?
I'll talk technology all day if you want.
So let's talk VR, right? So Justin, you do Oculus or Meta or whatever, right?
I've got a Oculus, yeah.
Okay. Chuck, do you do VR?
I do not. I get motion sick, so I've never really put any time into it.
All right. So the big thing this year, right? At least it would seem like the big thing was the new Apple was Vision Pro, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Apple cut production of it today. No longer making a new model for 2025. And they are no longer, so whatever they got on production line right now is what they're making this year. They sold 50% of what they expected to sell for 2024.
Well, the price point that it was at, I'm surprised that they sold 50%. I thought it was just, and I know there's a lot of Apple nerds out there that buy anything that they'll throw at them.
Yeah,
I just thought
absolutely
that was way too expensive. Like it was next level. For a new technology that doesn't have. Well, it's new to the Apple environment.
Okay.
So it doesn't have like enough software and appliances like ready to go for it to justify that price tag. To me, it's just like, man, everybody's going to spend. They're going to spend billions of dollars on this. They're going to get it, say this is amazing for 15 minutes, and then there's nothing else to do. And which has been the problem with every single VR headset until Oculus became a little bit more affordable, and then they jacked the price up on it. So it's like, I don't,
Is it safe to say that between the failure of Vision Pro and the debacle that Meta made of Oculus, that VR is essentially fizzled out?
Yeah, but I mean, did it ever fizzle in? What I mean? Like it never really hit like its high point is what? Half-Life Alyx?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that would be like that because
whatever.
that's considered like,
Saber
For
and
us. For
and
us.
like,
Fighter,
yeah,
sword, whatever.
but it's just like, yeah, you get these, you get, yeah, Beat Saber, and you get, the Fruit Ninja's pretty fun on it, and a few things like that, but it's never like gotten a bigger foothold on anything beyond like those niche games, and then that's it.
Yeah,
nobody's been able to like crack that code.
I was wondering if Justin, if they've used it because they talked about using it in like medical fields and stuff. Do you guys do you know of because you work for the hospitals? Do you know if anybody's
I've
using
seen
it?
a lot of demo units of things with different like VR headsets that are working with radiology imaging and 3D imaging where
Hmm.
they could take a heart
Yeah.
and do that kind of
Right.
thing. And yeah, that's great. But you could do the same thing on a screen with a mouse.
Green. Yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
So that's why
I,
it's just like it's like I feel like we have to get to like Ready Player One technology before we're there.
I don't want to poo-poo it because our
It,
kids will probably love it, but
it's not going away, but it's not. It's like like we used a Win Reality. So, Win
Mhm.
Reality, if you're not familiar with that, it's a baseball app, which
Mhm.
you can get like an attachment. You put it on your bat. You actually put one of the controllers attaches to your bat, and you can swing a bat, and you're going against pitches that simulates like I don't know 60 to 100 mile per hour fastballs, curveballs, whatever. And
Interesting.
there's a lot of college players that use it. There are some Major League Baseball players that have endorsed it. It's a lot of fun, and you don't get the feedback of hitting the ball, but you are taking full swings at pitches, and you're standing in a batter's box, and you're looking all around, and you're in a stadium, and there's a pitcher
Mhm.
standing there throwing balls at you at 90 miles per hour.
Well,
You
see,
know,
there
What,
you go.
what
and
if
and that was like my son like would work up a sweat doing that, and he would just like so like, and I think it probably helped him in a lot of his timing. So it's like that kind of application I think was the most useful of all the things we did. It was kind of expensive. We didn't renew it for another year, but I had a really good deal, so we did it for the 1 year.
what if I told you that the Quest 2 outsold Xbox Series X and S for 2 years in a row?
I would say, and there's a lot of Oculus
Well,
Quests that are sitting on a shelf that aren't getting
yeah.
used right now.
This
I mean, for
sold
crying out loud, I
net
couldn't even find an
retail
Xbox
sales.
X for 2 years, so I don't.
What are you saying, Dan?
So 23 since Q4 of 2021, the Quest 2 has outsold Xbox Series X and S combined.
I would not have expected it, but that does tell me that there's a lot of quests sitting on shelves not being used and getting
I think
dusty.
it's on shelves because when we got it for the boys 2 years ago for Christmas in 2022, we couldn't find them. They weren't anywhere on. They weren't on shelves like that. They were sold out everywhere. I had to order.
When I say shelves, I mean
At home.
people at home getting
Oh,
dusty,
okay.
not being
Gotcha,
used.
gotcha.
Because I mean, I'll tell you
On
what,
the-
like my Xboxes get used a hell of a lot more than my Quest does.
Gotcha. Okay.
So.
I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I feel kind of like it's almost like 3D TV, where it's like, it's cool to have the technology, but you hardly ever use it.
I never had a
No,
3D
but-
TV.
I don't either.
Ooh, yeah, I have one. I have a 3D projector, and we used it. We used it for a while because it was actually really cool. But we had issues because my projector uses active glasses. You have to keep putting batteries in them.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the butt to change the batteries, but it was really cool. It was really cool. I remember. So I think I have like 4 3D movies downstairs, and I think Xbox was streaming 3D movies for a while, or maybe it was Netflix. But it was really cool to watch like Avatar. I think Aliens 2, or Aliens was one of them. But it was really cool.
Aliens, we kick ass in 3D.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it might have been Jurassic Park, might have been another one.
Okay.
But it wasn't like super in your face, but it was just like it really enhanced the way that the films looked, right? But I like
Avatar did it the best.
Avatar was awesome in 3D.
It was also filmed in 3D. It was designed to be a 3D movie, so it wasn't one of those aftermarkets. I could see some fun things you could do with Jurassic Park, but it wasn't filmed with that in mind. So I'm sure
Jello.
I'm sure that or the objects in this mirror shot would be great in 3D, things like that. But the way that like the heads up displays in Avatar and everything kind of worked, it was all designed around that technology. So
did they film
that's why it's
a movie in 3D?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wondered.
Yeah. I
didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it either. I'm not a fan of Avatar though.
I think the new one was great.
I heard it was the same movie.
Yeah, that's exactly what I heard.
It's similar, but it's not.
I didn't like the Na'vi as a species. Like I didn't find them interesting or anything, and I don't know. I always felt like Avatar was like this huge, amazing movie. When I say amazing, in that it made so much money, yet it has zero effect on our culture. To be the number one movie of all time and have zero impact on everyday life, where it's like I felt like, okay, finally Endgame, thank you. Like that's something that everybody like, you have jokes about Thanos was right, or just like the snap, and like everybody got there's so many like things in that movie that have like cultural resonance the way that like Darth Vader, I'm your father, or other things have hit, but there's nothing. I can't even tell if that's Mastermind or or if that's. But yeah, like I just never felt I was like, well, it's like it. If Kevin Costner was in it, it could have been like a sequel, like a faraway sequel for Dances with Wolves, And it was a fine movie. I'm not saying it was a bad movie because Avatar is not a bad movie. I just felt like. I don't know. Like James Cameron just has some magic about him that he can make these movies that just generate so much money at the box office. But Avatar 2 didn't, and he's got like 3 more planned. And
Disney has a whole world.
They're gonna make significantly less money each one of these movies.
Oh yeah.
So there's no way they're gonna like ever top the first one, because the second one did not top the first one. It did good. It did good, but it didn't do amazing.
So Avatar 2 made $2.4 billion at the box office.
Really? Holy shit.
And it was released in 2022.
It was the first. It was like the first big movie to come out. It did no. But it had no impact. Like when it came out, it had no impact. Like it was just like, an Avatar movie's out.
It didn't even have a controversial popcorn bucket thing.
What studio released it?
Isn't it Disney?
Was it released by Disney, or did they just distribute it?
Oh, I think it's 20th Century Fox.
Okay.
And they
I think so, because it's not
Disney owns them now, but
do they own it?
Yeah.
Or are they just licensing it for Disney World?
Well, they could be licensing it.
Well, they own Fox, all Fox movies.
They do own Fox, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, there you go.
So
maybe that might be the issue, right? You have commercialization, Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, yada yada yada, and then you have Fox, who has a history of not being able to sell shit. Oops, sorry.
Yeah. No, they don't. They definitely. Well, I mean, they're just as bad as Sony with this kind of stuff.
I'm going to disagree with you, Justin, on this. I think the movie's a travesty. It's garbage. It's James Cameron took everything. James Cameron took everything he'd ever done, threw it in a blender, hit frappe, and this shitty ass movie came out. The only thing it had going for it was that it was in 3D. It was badass in 3D, but the rest of it was just garbage. Like the second movie should have just been a ship coming into orbit and just planetary bombardment until everything was dead, and then go down there and get your
Avatar 2,
unobtainium.
unobtainium obtained.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it should have been.
I
Okay, we'll leave.
I just don't. Yeah, like I don't know. I didn't. I think there are moments in Avatar, and I don't think it's bad. I think it's well acted, except for the main character is not very good. But everybody else in it, Sigourney Weaver and the girl who plays Gamora, I forget her name. You know what I'm talking about. It's got a lot of the bad guys great in it. A little cliche, but
yes, he's very cliche.
It's cliche.
Very cliche.
I will allow cliches.
I'm your
in my
dumb
movies.
marine. I'm gonna blow up your tree.
Oh man, that's funny. Oh, hey, we have one other thing we didn't talk about, and we didn't even mention it yet. There was a big trailer drop this week.
Are we talking Wolverine?
Wolverine and Deadpool.
Deadpool and Wolverine, yeah.
Did you watch it?
Like 5 times. It's fantastic.
Oh man, that is awesome. And you gotta watch the Red Band trailer, not
that's what I saw.
The Ant-Man, the giant Ant-Man skull is so badass. It's so fucking cool.
It's great. It's
I'm not up to date on all my Marvel movies, so is there like a tie-in to that, or is it just because this is part of the multiverse?
It's part of the multiverse.
Just part of the multiverse.
I think where it's going to tie in with the TVA isn't even really going to connect with Loki. Because, I mean, it could, but
I don't know.
They're not showing. There's no indication in any of the bits that people know about the TVA portions that any of the characters in Loki are in this movie. Like, none of the actors inside of Loki that are in the TVA, I don't even think are in this movie. So, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
They jumped through a Doctor Strange portal at one point.
Yes, I noticed that right at the end.
I'm like, is Doctor Strange going to be in there?
I would really love it. I would love it if the Tom Cruise version of Iron Man showed up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
That would be badass, bro.
Yeah, and Brad Pitt as Thor, like the old casting of what the Marvel universe would have been like pre, 2005.
Brad Pitt was already in Deadpool 2.
He was.
Yeah.
Oh, they've brought back like characters that died in that movie, like Shattershot died.
He dies right away in that movie, right in the beginning. When he parachutes out of the skydives out of the.
Well, he's the invisible guy, and you don't see him until he gets shocked, and then for like half a second, you're like, "Oh my God, it's Brad Pitt."
Yeah,
it's wonderful. Yeah.
I think that any one of those actors would love to make a cameo in this movie. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting how they do all that because there's going to be. I don't think it's going to be elegant because I don't think they care and they don't have to be with a Deadpool movie because it's all about fourth wall breaking. It's all about fun. The same way She-Hulk kind of did a lot of that stuff too. I mean, Deadpool's 10 times that even, but it's going to allow them moving forward to do a lot of crazy things because the Fantastic Four movie isn't in the normal MCU. Like, how I understand it is like Fantastic Four is already established as a superhero family in that universe, and I don't know if they're going to come into the current universe as we know it or how they're going to do that. How are they going to tie that in with X-Men? Are they going to tie that in with mutants in general? Are they going to? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of exciting and fun because now they get to play with the toys that they got from Sony. Because they're doing the new Spider-Man movie. And then all the Fox stuff with Fantastic Four it's going to be special. But like I said, they need to get that guy from Fallout and put him in as King the Conqueror because I think he could do it. If they want to recast Maximus.
Oh, Maximus.
Yeah, the guy plays Maximus. I forgot his name in the show, but that guy could absolutely, just recast it. Keep going. Do your thing.
I agree.
Yeah. Did you? I had no idea that Betty from Fallout was the blind lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the exchange about cocaine in the trailer is just freaking hilarious.
Yeah, it's good.
Disney won't let them get more than one mention of cocaine in, so they have to go to all the nicknames. Oh man, so good. So
good.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I really liked. Okay, so I cannot wait for season 2 of Fallout to go back to Fallout for her character to show up in the past. Like, what was she at Vault-Tec?
She's the she's in the flashbacks.
Is she?
She's the one who brings the dad into the office to meet Coop.
Oh shit!
That's Betty.
Holy shit! Okay, that's cool.
So you didn't catch that? Yeah, you got to go back and watch that.
I have to watch it again.
Yeah, and then you see that on the screen when the brother is looking through all the people that have been released. That's that whole interweaving of the flashbacks and the 3 stories all gets kind of brought back together with the people that have been released.
So is the ghoul's wife going to still be frozen?
The wife is not in that vault.
She's not going to be in Vault 31.
No, she's not on that list. The Vault 31 is all the members of the executive training program that Bud Askins put together.
Bud's.
So remember, he tries to get Cooper to join the executive training program.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, "No, you're an idiot. Get away from me!" Right.
So then, where is the wife?
So there is like a main vault where all the Vault Tech execs are at, and it's talked about, I think, in some of the other games, but that's why Coop is going after the dad, because the dad knows where she's at, and he won't. That's the whole exchange.
Yeah.
Why he didn't kill him at the end of episode 8, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that is the one thing that I think I struggle with a little bit, is that it's 200 years later. His daughter could be long dead.
Could be.
His wife could be long dead. Like the fact that
I don't think they are though. I don't think they are.
The fact that Mole. No, of course not. But
the daughter might be. I think the daughter.
Right?
I think the daughter could be. Probably not. But the wife is definitely.
But if he meets his daughter and she's like super old and shit, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a Fallout 4-ish kind of a start to season 2, right? Because I mean, it's almost that whole idea that the daughter and the wife could be still alive, because now we know cryogenic freezing is a thing and all that. And it's like the wife's idea, right?
How did the chick, how did she survive 200 years? Doesn't make any sense.
I think she's isn't she on the list? I think she came from Vault 31.
No way, dude. Because she was the one that was all anti,
I thought that she was just in the know and figured it all out. I don't think that she was. I think she's lived in this world only. Like, I don't think she's from the past. That's how I'm watching it again, and that's one of the things.
She is from the past, because she's the one that tells him, "Hey, here's the listening device. Go listen to your wife."
Yep.
That scene where she says, "Yeah, we'll drop the bomb first," and he's like,
"She's the one that gives him the device."
Yeah, she's the one that gives him the device.
Okay, yeah. Again, I gotta watch it again.
He goes. That scene where he gets captured by like the sheriffs, right? And he meets the old guy, and he kills the 2 sheriffs, and he looks up and sees the wanted poster of Moldaver, and he's like, "Well, I've seen that face before, but never with that name," right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think she was frozen in, if not Vault 31, in another vault, or through some other means, right?
Well, clearly she must have been, but...
Yeah, and we know through the games that the freezing of people, obviously, right, is a thing, right?
Yep.
In the vaults. So we know.
Mike, here's one of the things that just theory of mine. There's no way that Vaultek dropped the first bomb because she would never have let her daughter be with him the day that the bombs were going to drop. She would have made sure her daughter was with her the day they were going to drop the bombs.
Was there any indication that she cared about her daughter that much?
Yeah, the whole thing. I'm doing this all for us. I'm doing this for the family. You know, the whole thing where she wanted them to
that's
be
like
the
just like saying it. I mean,
So-
there wasn't a lot of. It was always like, the dad hanging out with the daughter and being like,
So back to Westworld.
Uh-huh.
It takes 2 seasons for you to get the full story of what's his name's character, right?
some say they're still telling that story.
But I think we're gonna get the same thing because
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
he's
You're
got
right.
the daughter with him
Yeah.
at the birthday
Well,
party.
that's why it's all speculation right now.
Yeah.
What about synths? Do you think we're gonna get synths?
Yeah. We need synths, man.
The
They're the best.
foundation is like East Coast. There's nothing
Yeah.
in. While I think they hint about sending them out west, I don't think it's anything anywhere else but.
But I mean, this is
New England.
I mean, we're past the time frame of New Vegas. When does Fallout 4 happen?
This takes place just after Fallout 4.
4
Okay.
years after, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So there definitely could be synths because they have the underground, aren't they? Sending them to the west to get out away from IT or whatever?
I think they are sending them out, but I don't. That's a lot of territory to cover. I don't know.
I just want that robot with the TV and the one wheel. That thing's freaking awesome, dude.
I just want
Love
Silver
that thing.
Shroud.
I want to see the USS Constitution on top of a freaking building.
That was
And somebody
awesome.
say, "How did that get up there?" And then somebody else goes, "I think they were trying to avoid paying taxes to the IRS." That's all I know. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, that's in Fallout 4, right?
Yeah. There's so many good things, man. All right.
All right, you guys, we're well over an hour now, so
It's time to
I'm gonna-
wrap.
yeah, I'm gonna have to call it a wrap.
Oh, one more thing. We're talking about movies. Interstellar coming back to IMAX in September.
Oh yeah, I saw
Are you
that.
going to go see it, Justin?
No, I'm not.
No?
I want to revisit the movie. That might be the best way for me to do it.
You freaking hate the ending of that movie, dude.
I dislike the ending of that movie. It disappoints me. I don't know if I like. It is.
I'm with you, Chuck. Justin hates it, and now he's gone to
No.
dislike.
I strongly dislike the ending of that movie. I love the beginning of a movie. I love the middle of that movie, and I'm just like, I wanted to love that movie, and I'm just disappointed in it. Yeah.
I'm gonna say this: when they get back to that ship, and it's been like 30 years or some shit, and you know what? The ship's still functioning. I'm like, okay, bullshit. Come on.
Why wouldn't it?
Like there would be broken shit everywhere. Nothing would work.
Dude,
that dude would
Voyager
be-
is still rolling, man.
Dude,
They just made
it came back
contact with
online.
Voyager again this week. Like Voyager's
know.
rocking again. I could totally see 30 years.
Until it hits
You
that
had a guy
wormhole.
on there fixing everything as it would break.
Yeah, but that guy sucked. He didn't know shit.
He knew enough to keep it rolling.
Mm.
Oh my
Could
god.
could you imagine how nuts you would go being alone for 31 years?
It'd be crazy. You know, I was
I don't
watching a
think you'd
thing.
walk
I was
out to-
watching a thing with Neil deGrasse Tyson today, and he was ranking all his movies. And his biggest complaint with the movie is not my complaint with that movie. And but he did make a funny observation about it. He's like, his problem was the blight. And I really like the idea of a blight causing so much problems with the world, you know. But he's
Oh, yeah.
he's like, so you're telling me it's easier to send ships out in space to find another planet to then someday occupy than just get your biologists in gear and fix this blight? Are you kidding me? What's up with the biologists in this story? And I'm like, yeah, it's a really good point. Like, let's do this. Fine, if you want to do your space trip, cool. But can we get some biologists on this too?
but think about it like this. Let's say, Monsanto, they've developed this, weed killer that they genetically alter all the seeds of all the different freaking plants so they can use their proprietary weed killer.
Which they do, which is a known
down the
fact of what they
road,
do. Yeah.
down the road, there's like some sort of like genetic, malfunction, and like, yeah, the entire crop, like every crop is susceptible. It could totally happen.
Good night, everybody. Let's leave on that note. Let's leave on that note. Okay, click like, subscribe, all that other BS, all that other stuff. So thank you to the 8 people that have done that.
I thought it was 15.
Might be.
Last time I checked, 18.
We're getting better every second. We might even have 20 by the time this drops.
Shit, I don't know.
It costs us to buy subscribers. Like, like you hear all these scandals. People are like, oh, it's probably like $100 for like 2,000 or something.
Hey, the fans we have, they always tell me, hey, when's the next episode coming? I love what you guys are doing. So
yeah, no, I've heard good things. So I hope everybody enjoyed, because I think this is a really good episode. I think we had a really fun one here. I think anybody interested in Fallout is gonna enjoy this episode. So yeah. I hope that's the case, and we'll talk about something different next week. So
absolutely.
Goodbye, everybody.
See you guys later.
Peace.
How the mouth of that thing was just a bunch of fingers.
Oh, it was so gross. It was so gross.
So awesome, dude.